talking about the Pickit Lists and the complexities thereof. I am not going to go so much into the coding and how to do individual items. If you're interested in that, I strongly suggest you come to Project Atoll, look around, ask questions. Of course, there will be a lot of information here and on the blizzhackers.cc website, I'm sure, as well. For this particular video, I'm going to focus on pre-made pickets, how to copy and paste into a brand new file and create a NIP file, which is essentially a picket file, how to move that into your Kolbot folder, and then of course tell your bot how to use it. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you guys is the Project Atoll wiki page. Again, links in the description. There is a ton of different picket lists here that will work for you, and you can come in here and copy and paste and take whatever it is that you want or delete the stuff that you don't. And that's what I highly recommend. A lot of people ask for pickets from other people, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me because your needs are very likely going to be different than mine. You may need some items that I don't. I may need some items that you don't. That's why it's so important to go ahead and just make your own picket file, or at least edit an existing one to fit your needs. So for example, I did create one for you guys, and I will put the paste bin link in the description. I used this perfection picket as an example, and I took all of these different categories, placed them into one picket file or .nip file, and saved it on Pastebin for you guys to go ahead and use for yourselves. Now the way to do this, just as an example, and let's just assume that we're on the Pastebin. I mean, I do have it here too, but let's say that you want to do just the unique section or the entire thing. It doesn't really matter. You're going to go ahead and copy what you want, and then you're going to go to your desktop because it's just easier. Create a new file, text document, and we're going to name this perfection, I guess, in this case. But instead of leaving it a text file, we're going to rename this to an NIP file. If it asks you if you want to change the extension, you always hit yes. And as you can see here, this is now a Sublime Text file association. That's good. That's what we want. Or Notepad Plus Plus if that's more your thing. And then we're going to go ahead and open it. And as you can see here, this one already has some stuff loaded because I've done this once before, but yours won't. Yours will be completely empty, so let's go ahead and do that. And then you're just going to copy in yours that you already have. And as you can see, you can keep doing this over and over and over again. Now, I do recommend that if you're going to put multiple pastes in, go ahead and hit enter twice each time that you paste stuff in to avoid them getting bunched up and potentially causing issues. I will show you a way to check that, however, here in just a little while. But for now, make sure you hit that double enter when you're copying and pasting in, and then you won't have any issues. So make sure that you save it, of course. And then you're going to go to your Kolbot folder, which I believe, yeah, here we go. And then you're going to go to D2BS, Kolbot, Pickit, and as you can see here, I already have one, but you're going to copy in or drag over, whichever, into your Pickit folder. Now remember, our bot doesn't yet know to use that file. All we've really done is created a new one. In order for the bot to know which one to use, we need to go into our character configuration folder and edit it there. So I have, just for example, here's a character config file right here. We're going to pop this sucker open. And you're going to be heading to line 280, 281. Yours may be a little different than mine because I've deleted a couple of things here, but you should see a line that looks similar to this. config.picketfiles.push, and then in here it will either say Kolbot, or excuse me, colton.nip, and below that it should say lld.nip if you're doing this from the stock configuration. Now, as you can see, I deleted the LLD particular nip. The reason I did this is I'm no longer going to use it. In fact, I don't highly recommend using multiple different Pickit files. You can get conflicts, which can cause issues with the bot, and sometimes even cause it not to pick up anything at all. I really suggest just using one big Pickit list or two very different Pickit lists like was in here originally. If you think about it, the Colton.nip was mostly higher end perfect items, and the LLD items are basically the opposite of that. Those are really high-end, low-level items that wouldn't necessarily be in the Colton.nip file. So it kind of makes sense to separate them out like that if you want to. However, I just strongly recommend just putting it all in one. It's a lot easier to deal with. You can just go through there and edit it as you need it. So as you can see here, this was the name of my particular NIP file. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to hit save on this to make sure that it saves it. And then last but not least, I want to show you one last thing, and that is with Notepad++. Notepad++ actually has an extension, or they're calling it a plugin, that can be used, and that is right up here on this page. Again, link in the description. And this is a blizzhackers.cc topic on the forum. This allows you to check your nib files for errors. I highly recommend you do this because if there are errors, the bot will not pick up anything and it will error out. So using this is, in my opinion, very important and basically necessary unless you want to go manually through it and figure out what's wrong. So I'm not going to go over how to install this. I think that this is pretty self-explanatory. It's well spelled out for you here. But once you get it done, let me just show you what that will look like. So I believe, here we go. Here is our perfection.nip file. So we put a bunch of stuff in here. We're ready to leave it as is, but before we use it, before we actually start the bot up, we want to run that plugin. So we're going to go to Plugins, NIP Checker, and we're going to go to Run. Now, if you get this little message that comes up that says no errors found, you're ready to go. You literally don't need to do anything else. Everything in here is where it should be, and it will work properly. And that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know this wasn't all-inclusive, and I'm sure some of you would like more, but this, I feel, is the most far-reaching information and the most helpful information for most people, and that's what I tend to focus on.